reasons why I find myself in the situation of not having completed my dissertation. On the other hand, I believe one ought to take stock of one's own bullshit. End footnote 1. Salah. In retrospect, I loved Salah for reasons anyone can understand. First, she loved herself more than she loved me, and this led me to think that I would get some respite from the world, and at the same time receive the little affections I required to complete my life's work, my dissertation. I wanted Salah to spare me only a few glances and gestures while she took care of her most singular concern, her body. I imagined her thoughts passing over me briefly while she did her eyes or painted her nails red. I believed this oblique affection, like the affection one has for landscapes or animals, would be sufficient for my needs. I don't require much in the way of attention, you see. All my life, I've sat at an angle, observing the back and forth of other people's lives. Even as a child, I found myself on the diagonal to events in the living room and the kitchen. I used to sit crouched with my arms around my knees, trying to watch and listen and not be noticed. I used to summon all my stillness to do this, because if I were observed, all events would cease, and I would become the object of commands to do some job like cleaning a shoe or finding a book to read. Or worse, I would be upbraided for listening in on conversations beyond my years, which it seemed was a sign of immorality. My childhood was spent inhabiting this angle nevertheless, at the risk of beatings and other sanctions. I enjoyed this vantage point because it provided me with a view of the tumult of people's lives without the involvement. And so I perfected this geometry. I excelled at finding just the right distance from actions and conversations. From there, I learned a great deal about human beings, first at home and then in the world, where, I discovered, it was much easier to conceal oneself. Anyone would be forgiven, I think, for loving Salah. After all, in this world there is a shared aesthetic, however oppressive, however repetitive, of loving a certain manifestation of a woman, and Salah inhabited that manifestation. One finds oneself compelled to take part in the aesthetic, no matter the tedium of its repetitions. It is so anesthetic. Well, actually, it is like a hammer and a crowbar opening your skull and your heart. You can see its manifestation all over the world on billboards, interpretations of a certain symmetry, or to be exact, an asymmetry. Although Salah, I must admit, was not an interpretation, she was the object of interpretation. She was voluptuous, truly. That word, Salah, was its owner. A smooth, sumptuous human being. Even-fleshed, tall, athletic, bracing, supple. Her skin, a burnt almond, yet smelled of cinnamon. I do not mean here to invoke the Brazilian writer Jorge Amado's Gabriela, Clove, etc., and I don't mean to dissociate Salah, the body, from Salah, the intelligence, in the way that most people do. We are mainly body, after all, and the body is intelligence. We turn it into this petty pantomime of gender, so its beauty is lost on us. I try every day to break out of the pantomime. Nevertheless, I spend hours smelling Salah's right shoulder. Her skin is so smooth there. She didn't appreciate my dog's nose sniffing her, but the cinnamon is most noticeable there, warmed in the bowl of her clavicle. I asked Salah if she rubbed herself in cinnamon. Did she roll around in cinnamon powder each morning, or did she walk through burning branches of cinnamon trees at night? She looked disgusted with me. Of course not, she said. Back to the body.